Hi, this is Dr. Scott Young, and today we're going to talk a little bit about something fascinating that hundreds, maybe 100 million Americans have, and you'd be surprised by that, called tinnitus. Coming right up. In the West, they say tinnitus. In the East, they say tinnitus. So guess what? I'm a Western kind of guy in that way. All right. What is tinnitus? Tinnitus is the junk term for all kinds of different ringing sounds. I mean, they could sound like crickets, locusts, or a strong wideband buzzing kind of sound. And so when we have that kind of sound, it's a symptom. So like if you have a cough, obviously, if you have a cough, that's a symptom of a problem that's going on in your body. That might tell you something that's going on. That's the same thing that happens with tinnitus. Many people want to like cover it up and they want to fix it, but you know, your body is screaming out, there's a problem, okay? And here's one of the things that we look at. When we look at the journey that people go through, there's a couple different ways that happens. First off, hearing loss comes on relatively gradually for most people if it's not anything traumatic that might happen, like an injury or other kinds of things. But when we have tinnitus, it normally is the first thing that kind of shows up, and then your hearing loss moves in further with that too. So that's kind of another way of thinking about this. Secondly, what happens is that the tinnitus can change in pitch and volume. And when you have that, it makes it so difficult for you to live your life. So for instance, I always say, here's the noise floor, and that little thing of tinnitus is poking up here and poking into your life with that. One of the things that we do at Hearing Solution Centers is deal with tinnitus. I mean, every day we're listening to people with tinnitus. And what kinds of things might be happening from tinnitus? I mean, it could be, again, hearing loss, it can be medications, and the one thing that we are not really getting into in 2024, and no one wants to talk about this, is COVID and the vaccines. Those things are absolutely increasing tinnitus on a dramatic level. I've talked to physician friends of mine, and we're having the same conversation left and right, and we're seeing a massive change in that. mRNA kinds of changes in the body will absolutely make a difference in the tinnitus, or start it afresh. One of the things I want you to know is that in our office here in Tulsa, Hearing Solution Centers, or heartulsa.com, we actually have a tinnitus solutions program. So patients can actually call, schedule a time, they can go to heartulsa.com, and you can kind of find out more about this. Now, it's way deeper than just a regular hearing evaluation or audiological evaluation. We go into all kinds of different points, ask questionnaires, we confirm areas, and we actually do a tinnitus program to find out exactly where your tinnitus might show up, how loud it is, those kinds of areas, and see if we can kind of cover it up. Now, to give you a little bit, I'm going to share with you a couple ways that happens. We have these programs with hyperbaric chambers that we can refer you to, or something even as crazy as something called EMDR. What this is a counseling technique to deal with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. For instance, I'm a guy that went through that about almost 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago. I nearly died and walked out of the hospital in a miracle circumstance in 3 days. One of the things that happens inside of those is that when you have that really stressed everyone else around in the world. And I had to actually deal with it too. So EMDR might help to deal with that kind of points that happen out there. Now, there are treatments, even like maybe we might talk to someone about hearing aids, or we might do something even more interesting. It's called a tinnitus oil of quiet. So let me tell you a brief story about this and why I even thought about getting into this. You see, when I was in grad school, I had a concept of where tinnitus might be happening. But what I was realizing is that the outer hair cells might actually be causing it as their damaged points. And so they were firing as if something is happening. It's like someone touching you, but you're not really being touched in essence. And it's what got me into this field. And there's a guy named Peter Dallos who just fascinated me. I finally got a hold of him and I said, is it possible that damaged hair cells might be causing the tinnitus? He emailed me back, he said, I think you are definitely down the right path. At that same time frame though, I was, as well as studying the tinnitus, I was looking into oils. And here's what happens with essential oils, is that they pass by cell walls and rewrite the DNA. These are 8 separate oils that what they're focusing on is maybe sleep apnea issues. We have issues of stress and anxiety, and we have just all these background points that can come in. And so one of the things that we looked to do when I kept testing and retesting and trying different oils and looking up their matrix, and then also seeing if they actually weren't contradicting each other. So medicines, if you take too many different types of medicines, the first thing we tell people is take those medicines into your PCP, your primary care physician, and say, do these things match? And you'll find, holy cow, they don't. And it's because you didn't share that with all of your professionals. So in that same way, I was looking at oils that wouldn't contradict one another or countermand what they were trying to accomplish in there. The quiet oil, what it is that it is a kind of an earthly grounding kind of scent. And so what people will do is they will take this oil, this lasts a month per bottle, okay? It's $125 plus $25 shipping, because again, and we can't ship it out of America. I'm sorry, it's just incredibly difficult to ship it outside of America. So as long as you're in, Mexico, Canada, America, we can probably get it out in that way. But if you're in England or other places, sorry, it can't happen. But you can actually go to our website, heretulsa.com, and you can see our tinnitus oil. And this is why we're doing this. What people will do is take this dropper, and so they will take out, and you're going to do this 3 times a day for 3 minutes. So for instance, I'm going to take 3 drops. I'm going to rotate this in a clockwise manner, and then I'll kind of rub it over the ear, and then I'll kind of cup my hand. And so breathing in. Now, you're going to say, well, wait a second, what is it doing? I put it up on the top. Don't put it down in your ears, but put it up over your ear. But what you're doing is it's gone into your skin. If you can kind of see my skin, it's kind of shiny at this point. And I'm breathing this in for, again, 3 drops a time frame, 3 times a day. It doesn't matter when and during the day, and for 3 minutes. And so I'm breathing in just like this. And so I was looking at that going, okay, is this really going to work? So I started testing it with, basically about 100, 150 patients. Again, that's not study level, okay? I'm not trying to say, an AMA study level point. But what we found is massive changes. We actually have this thing called a tinnitus hearing indicator, and it's a THI, a handicap indicator. And what it does is that we found people noticed a massive difference after a month. I even had a chiropractor who comes into my office and wonders about hearing loss. I said, no, you don't have any hearing loss. But he goes, well, what about that ringing in the ears? And definitely he had some poking up tinnitus. He was messing with his life. Happened to see him at a restaurant, and we're outside, and I can see a guy who's got a broken foot. He's like, you're Dr. Scott. When I took that oil and I used it, first you did the treatment on me, And we do a treatment actually in office. If you want to come to our office, it's a little different. But we then get them into the oil, and he used it for the month. And he goes, my tinnitus went away. Now, I can't say that goes for everyone, but we have found this kind of thing will help in that way. And we have people that come in and buy it monthly. So most people don't need to buy it monthly, but some people do. They really love this kind of smell. And I think that is one of the areas that we're looking at and making a difference. So what we're doing on our website, heretulsa.com, is making this available as an over-the-counter thing. Again, it's got 8 different types of oils in a specialized blend that only I've created, okay? So we will send you just that bottle. We will send you the instructions about how to use it, and then you can see a difference. Now, we always like people to kind of fill out a little survey and email it to us, and it's going to be at Sherry@heretulsa.com. And she can communicate back and forth by email, or she can give you a call if you want to leave a number in there. Happy to do it. We'll explain what we're doing, and then she'll make sure she gets the right, shipping information and ship it right out to you. So that's kind of an idea that might make a difference. And that's why we're sharing with you not just the tinnitus solution that we have in office, but frankly, this fascinating type of oil, this tinnitus oil called Quiet, that could make a massive difference for you. Now, we have 2 different channels that I'm going to share this on. We're going to share this on my heretulsa.com channel on YouTube, or Here Tulsa channel. And then we're also going to share this on my ministry type of channel as well, that I've had just a ton of people show up in that way. So we're going to put it on both of the channels because you guys can share it out there, nationwide, and share it with people that might make a difference. I really appreciate you listening in. Thanks so much.